Joining us now is an NBA champion. He was a Sixth Man of the Year, a living legend on and off the court. Last night, he displayed that while beating the hell out of an aggravator, a rioter, a destroyer who was trying to shape the narrative away from what the protesters were protesting. A man who protested himself this weekend for equality and against police injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, a man that I beat at golf, J.R. Smith.
Yeah!
Boy,
J.R.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me, man. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be on your show, man. I've been watching you since the Bahamas, and honestly, man, I'm so happy to see you transcend into what your show has become, and it's great, man. It's great to be a part of it, and I appreciate you guys.
JR, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I wanted to send out, because you followed me after that Bahamas thing, and I'm a big fan, so I followed you back, and there's you, by the way. I believe you're talking massive amounts of verbiage to me here while celebrating on the bus afterwards, but I didn't want to waste... I didn't want to shoot my shot and blow it. You know, I didn't want to be like, hey, Joe, come on the show. So I had to wait until something electric and legendary happened with you. And because getting to meet you in person, you were such a cool dude, nice to everybody, literally nice to everybody. And then last night, obviously, video surfaces of you getting into it with somebody who was taking the narrative of a protest in which I think was very powerful and I think very a potential pivotal moment in American society, because it felt as if everybody was on George Floyd's side in this thing. Normally, that is not the case. Normally, there's some idiots that are like, well, let's see the whole video, let's see this. This was one where I think all of America, especially coming out of this quarantine, was like, hey, we all are on this side. 2020 is the year we say no more of this. And then these rioters and agitators got involved and almost started sending the narrative in a different direction, and you got caught up with one. What was your weekend like before this, obviously? And then let's talk about what happened before this video aired and who the hell is the respect his privacy guy, because that guy's a legend as well.
Man, you know, it's crazy because I was at home, man. I'm a big, I opened up my gaming company. I'm a big, gamer and stuff, and I was playing Call of Duty, and, you know, I'm so, in the Call of Duty, you hear helicopters, you hear the gunshots and stuff like that. So one of my Jordan Clarkson, he lives down the street from me. He was like, yo, come outside. You see what's going on? Cut the news on. I'm like, what? I cut the news on, and I take the headphones off, and I hear 4 helicopters surrounding my house. So I don't really, I didn't turn the news on yet that day, so I didn't really know what was going on. So I cut the news on, and this shit is going on at the corner of my house, like literally on the corner. So I get out and walk down, protest with some of the people. I hand out waters and take pictures and stuff. I got some dope ass footage, and it was just like it was so much love, and it seemed like so many people were unified at the time. And then, you know, you get to the scenes where you see people burning cars down, breaking in stores and shit, and it's just like, bro, like, I'm not for this. Like, this is not what it's about. This is not what it's for. Like, more than anything, when people see this on TV, and when they see people turning stuff over, knocking, breaking shit, it's not going to give us a good light after this going forward. So it's not in my eyes, not helping the situation. Now, you want to peacefully protest, 100%, we can do that all day. But once you get to vandalizing people's personal property that has nothing to do with nothing, and 100%, honestly, I'm the only black guy on my block. I'm the only black person on this corner. So for you to randomly just thinking you're doing something for the people, that one black person who was able to get out the situation and move into a nice neighborhood and do all of those things that we aspire to do, you broke that person's window without even knowing. So it's like people are consistently doing stuff when you don't even know what you're doing it for or why you're doing it. You, out of all the people, 100%. Now, granted, if he would have seen me and seen somebody outside the car or outside the house or whatever, do I think he would have broke it? Absolutely not. It was just a random act of stupidness, and I give him that. But that ass whooping was a random act of stupidness on my behalf as well.
I don't think so, because I think the people that were exploiting this opportunity to take advantage of it to cause chaos, I think they were distracting away from a real movement that was happening in America. I said this earlier. Normally, whenever things like like this happen, whether it's Ferguson or Baltimore or New York or Atlanta, and it happens too often. But normally when these things happen, it's regionalized, right? It's cities doing things. It's normally just one particular group of people talking. This particular time, because of the 8 minutes and 41 seconds, and because it became a national thing, and it became like
look at Hong Kong. They're marching to Hong Kong and everything. Like it's going so like out of what we've normally seen in a positive way.
Yes.
So it's like it's just complete vandalism. It's so many like people in Minneapolis are doing like really sit down, giving speeches, lectures, and trying to educate people on what is going on and try to figure out a solution, not vandalize people's property and add on to the chaos to where you give a person a reason to shoot you or do something harmful to you. This man was down there for 8 minutes and 46 seconds for no reason. Literally like being taking the life from him, calling for his dead mother. And then we go out here and quote unquote trying to represent his name in a good way, and between tarnishing people's shops and like so many people have nothing to do with the situation. Like I was walking down Melrose, there's so many people from the Middle East and all these people who are immigrants who fought their way over here, who struggled to get out of their situation to come and try to provide and make a better life that we all strive for, are supposedly striving for, and we go out there and vandalize these people properly, breaking windows, stealing their stuff, and all of like I seen this guy, he put everything into his store. This man was 70-something years old. Fortunately he's got kids and grandkids and all that, but insurance and all that. Oh, insurance will take care of it. Insurance shouldn't have to take care of it.
Yeah,
it shouldn't. We should be able to lock arms and stand in front of somebody's store and be like, no, this is not right. This is what we're protesting against. Being able to do stuff like this is not right.
Well, and I think the good thing about it is normally in the past, I think this type of thing where there's the looting and all that stuff and the windows getting broken that you're referring to, it happened in our city as well. Normally that would distract people from the message of what's happening. I think we're at a point though where people aren't getting distracted. And I'm saying that because when your video came out, normally black guy, rich NBA guy, beats the hell out of a little white kid, right? Normally, the internet would be so excited to burn you down for this particular situation. Like J.R. Smith, idiot, makes a bad decision. Instead, the complete opposite happened. And that's why I have faith that America in 2020, somehow, some way, is stronger than the idiots. Because everybody saw what you did to them. White, old, young, Asian, Latino, Jewish, whatever, everybody saw what you did to that person and was like, damn right. Like that is somebody I think that everybody saw as an enemy. And I think that's why that video was so important. And your response, by the way, follow-up response was even better. I do have to talk about one thing though. Your kick. We need you to get, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can see over my championship belt here, but your hip, we need to get the hip in. We need to get the hip around on that thing a little bit.
I was trying to go Bones Jones or Anderson Silva or something, but it wasn't. And you know what's sad? Because like after the first two kicks, I really got in. It really like in the third one, you could kind of see it. It wasn't that much emphasis on it because I really, at that point when it happened, I seen red. And then when I finally snapped to and what was going on, I'm still like disappointed with myself, even though people say I shouldn't be. But it's just like, for me, I'm 34 years old. I have 4 little girls at home. You know, I don't want that image of regardless of the fact whether it was right or wrong. I don't want them to have that image of their dad being capable of doing that and doing something like that. Now, if something harms them or something like that, I want them to know that 100% my dad is going to protect me in all facets and everything. But I just never want my kids and
JR, I have to stop you there because your 4 daughters, right? You're fighting for their future. Technically.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And that person that is vandalizing your window and vandalizing property is taking away from the message that is potentially helping your daughters in the future that we all want to see happen. So I don't think you should feel bad. Granted, it's not a good look, right? That's going to be something in 10 years where you might feel bad about. But I'll tell you what, in this particular room, we are going to look at that in 10 years and go, hey, you remember when J.R. Smith beat the hell out of that little anarchist punk? Okay, so I'm proud of you, to be honest with you. And I know that doesn't mean much because we've only hung out a couple times, but I think watching that video, I was so proud because it was just such a cool moment. Now, Let's talk about basketball, can we?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But first of all, let me cut you off. It does mean a lot to me because 100% my peers are people in a position to where we are articulating these kids' future. And
yes.
for your appreciation for what I do and people who watch you and understand that, and the way you say is nothing wrong. I appreciate that because it's people who are younger generation who are still confused on what happened and need context on what was right and what is wrong. Because I still get mentions and obviously in DMs or, oh, that was messed up, you have insurance and stuff like that. But to be taught that is wrong, regardless of what that person did, the action that caused that reaction, that person was wrong. And that the message that we're, like you said, we're not going to get away from is the injustice, and that's one thing that I appreciate you for pushing and trying to keeping that good message alive.
Hey, no worries, because it's real. This isn't a race thing, okay? This is people against racists. And
right.
That's the difference between this particular movement as opposed to the past movement. In the past, it was somehow deemed race versus race. Like, hey, if you stand with the folks in Ferguson or in Baltimore or in New York, like this is a race versus race thing. Now it's like, hey, we're at the point where we've all been through so much with this quarantine lockdown. We've all seen the chance where it's like, hey, our world can be snatched up from us like this. It kind of is like a locker room. I talked about how a locker room opened my eyes to a lot of people that I would have never met. It put a face on a lot of different hoods from around the country, and you become a lot more understanding once you meet people and talk to them. It's kind of like how this time everybody has kind of felt like, hey, you know what? We're in this thing together. This isn't race versus race anymore. This is race versus racist. And hopefully we'll be able to eradicate that from our society. And I think we're there, even though the holes of the ass tried to ruin that. And one of them just so happened to catch a couple rights and a kick from J.R. Smith. Last thing before we move on from the video, who was the respect his privacy guy? That guy you need to keep around, I think. That's my
guy, man. That's my guy, Dar from Julan in New York. He owns a couple restaurants. He really looked out for me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice. Well, personally, I wish you would have got the hell out of the way so we could. Okay, let's talk basketball. That guy right there, Darv, legend of a man right there. By the way, anytime you have a friend who's trying to block cameras from shooting you doing something that could be perceived as negative, you got to keep that person around. Shout out to him for being a friend. Let's talk basketball now. We saw you on bikes riding around the city with Bron and AD. We know you're good friends with LeBron. You aren't retired, but you're not currently in the NBA. What is the future looking like for J.R. Smith? The NBA is better with you in it. We all believe that.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a roller coaster because I've been, like I said, I've been in the league 15 years and being since coming out of high school, this is all I've known as a man, as a kid. I've literally grown with this. People call it a job or whatever, but for me, it's a lifestyle because just the basketball is my life, and to not be a part of something that I've been a part of for so long at the highest level it was so deteriorating. Honestly, I felt like I was just I was depressed. I felt like finding a purpose of getting up every day and doing something was a struggle for a long time. And fortunately, I've gotten out of that. I've gotten out of that rut and gotten back into the love and appreciation of the game. And it hasn't been easy. I'll tell you that, it hasn't been easy. But fortunately, I'm healthy. I can't wait to get back if I get an opportunity to, and I'm ready for sure.
Hey, you're more than just a basketball player. Remember that. Your identity doesn't lie in just the money that you made. You need to know that, too. I think you showed that yesterday, and you showed that this weekend while you were protesting. I'm happy you made it out of that dark place. Now, let's talk about how you got out of the Cavaliers organization. This is one of the most interesting things I've ever seen in my entire life. So LeBron leaves. You're still under contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Was this in the time that you were just referring to as being a little bit depressed because of how long you've been around the league, or did that come after you and the Cleveland Cavaliers decided to part ways?
No, that came after. Honestly, that had so much to do with it because for me, as a competitor, and I know you are a competitor as well. Like I don't, as fun as you have, holding that championship belt. I can't wait to beat you guys next year.
It's not going to happen.
Competitiveness we have with each other. There's nothing personal or anything like that. That's just the competitiveness. And when Bron left, our team and our owners and our general manager, and they didn't want to be competitive anymore. They didn't want to strive to make the playoffs. They didn't want to be a better team. They wanted to rebuild for a future that me and the current players who went through the trenches to win a championship, to losing 3 finals and all of that, to, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks. We're good. Like, all right. And we're just like, bro, how you good? Like, how can you do that? Like, I've been on this team for the last 4 years, going to the finals every single year, competing, striving, at least give us the opportunity to start the season off. And you know what? If we're not good enough and midway through the year, listen, guys, we're going to switch it up. We're going to make some trades, get you guys out of here, da, da, da. And if you would have told me that from the door, I can't argue with that, because that's you're being honest with me, you're being upfront with me and telling me everything. But in our situation, it's like, oh yeah, no. I told guys in the summertime, I said, listen, I want to be in Cleveland. I want to be a Cavalier. I know Bron's gone and everything, but obviously I know you guys have some decisions to make. So if you want to break the team up and do whatever and not be competitive, let me know, and we can try to make it work out, a trade or buyout, however the situation will go. And the whole time they were telling me, like, oh no, we're going to be competitive. We're going to try to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're still that team, and one person doesn't define our team. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm going into a different mindset. We're like, okay, I have to be more aggressive. I gotta do this. I gotta be more of a leader. I gotta be more vocal. I gotta do so many more things. And then when I get to the training camp and everything else, it's just like, oh nah, this isn't the way we're gonna go. I'm like, you could have told me this 2 months ago when we had this conversation.
Yeah. It feels like in basketball, we're learning this now at The Last Dance. I think a lot of people got to see it now. All the storylines and who's upset at who for how they're portrayed, that is not what I want to talk about here. I want to talk about how the storylines is always like, you have a great team, and then do we break it up? Do we move forward? Jerry Krause was painted in a not great light. I assume in this particular case, whenever you're lied to about a team being moving forward in a competitive fashion as opposed to just kind of rolling over and decide trying to lose, that can be very upset. The conversations in the locker room, though, and I want to move to The Last Dance. The conversations in the locker room, you got a chance to play with LeBron. You and LeBron were a great tag team. I mean, 3 finals, you win it. Now, granted, there's obviously that situation in Golden State that you probably have to talk about 7,000 times in your entire life, which, yeah. What's that?
All the time, literally all the time.
What happened?
You know, it's funny. Like when over the course of the game, and it's happened to me numerous times before, and I'm not going to sit here and say it didn't. Like, I get so caught up in the game and my matchups and stuff. I try to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, where I got to go, and stuff like that. I get caught up in not looking at this clock. I get caught up in not looking at the score and shit like that. And granted, it could have been the most pivotal time to look up and all of that. Yeah, of course, obviously. But in the situation, it was just like, I knew that my efforts, what I was trying to do was help us win the game. Now, whether we lost the game or not, that's regardless of the fact. Would we have won the series or not? Probably not. Who knows? Whatever. But
KD was on fire. There was no chance. But I don't want to blame you guys or anything. You guys are good too.
Right. But my efforts were solely to try and win. It's not like I'm getting paid from a bookie to try and lose the game or anything. You can sit there and see I'm obviously trying to win. Anybody who knows me, been on my team, I'm as competitive as they come. But at the same time, I understand the time we live in of social media and everything else and stuff like that. I mean, look at as great as Charles Barkley was, he could have won a championship too. If he'd not fouled in games, 6 when they played the Bulls.
Do we not like Charles Barkley? Hold on, I just need to know. Do we not like?
No, I don't have a problem with Charles Barkley. No. It's not like that. I understand the time that we live in. Things are going to be way more emphasized and way more on the limelight or whatever than it's going to be for things in the past. I understand that, and I've grown to take advantage of those situations and aspects too. So I'm not immune to things are coming back to harm me and memes and stuff like that. So when people ask me about it, I don't take it personal or anything.
It was a mistake, JR.
People make a mistake trying to make the best effort that I could. Was it not good enough? I tell people all the time, I make 100%. I give you 100% effort all the time. And whether it be good enough for you or not, that's something you're gonna have to deal with. But I'm gonna give you everything I got.
It was a mistake. Things happen. That things happen. It's a mistake, especially in sports with the tensions and the rivalry and the amount of pressure and people make mistakes. These things type of happen. I think, by the way, the reaction of LeBron is the biggest one, which is what I wanted to talk about here. What was LeBron like as a teammate? Because we got a chance to see what Jordan was like as a teammate, and the conversation is always Bron or Jordan, Bron or Jordan. I think it was two very different sports. When Michael Jordan was playing basketball, it was a very different basketball than what it is when LeBron plays.
I was like a rugby basketball.
Hey, Stockton's dribbling like this.
There's no way. There's no like, and I say, and obviously all of it comes with the evolution of time and stuff like that, because obviously there weren't tight ends like Gronk and back when in the 50s or whatever. But with all due respect to like when people try to compare the generations, could this person play with them and this like when if you could put realistic Chris Paul versus Bob Cousy, who do you think is going to win? Like seriously, bro. Like Steph Curry versus Dennis Johnson or somebody. Like, bro, come on. Like, granted, those people were great in their era. They were unbelievable for their time, and they helped us get to the stepping stones where we are and at the level we are today. But don't knock us for following y'all footsteps and making it quote unquote somewhat either more entertaining or better. Because that's what you guys did for us.
Well, Jordan was a trailblazer, right? So Jordan was the first one to do a lot of things, right? So I think that's why when you hear people talk about Jordan, how there's like, no way LeBron will ever be better than Jordan, you got to think about the people that were watching basketball back in the day when Jordan showed up and started taking off from the foul line, whenever he was going up and under. Things that we see literally every single night in basketball had never been seen before. So I think Jordan, trailblazer, somebody that set the standard, like, hey, this is how basketball is going to go. And then with nutrition, exercise, techniques getting dialed in, everything just got a lot better. It's two very different sports. But what was LeBron like as a teammate? Because seeing behind the closed door there about Jordan being a teammate, he was hard. I got a chance to obviously watch Peyton be great. He wasn't like Jordan, but he held people accountable for everything they did. I would assume LeBron's the same type of player.
Yeah, he definitely holds you accountable. But one thing about Bron, he leads by example with his work ethic. He gives. I think that's the biggest. And his biggest attribute is being able to pull people along with his work ethic. Like he doesn't mind going to the gym and grabbing me, Kev, Tristan, RJ, Channing, Shump, Kyrie, like literally hand by hand. Like, all right, come on, we're going to the gym. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're going to go as a team. We go eat. We're going here to do this. He's so very. I mean, obviously, it's easier for the better players to do it, but for my existence, Jordan didn't do it. Kobe didn't do it. A lot of players that quote unquote had that quote unquote killer mentality aren't that type of person to do it. And he doesn't. I wouldn't say he's not a scorer. So a scorer is like a person who has a one-track mind to do one individual thing. That's like a sniper. I'm out here to snipe people and pluck people off, and that's it. Jordan and Kobe and those dudes, they did play defense, but they were scorers. Those guys, they're going to put up 50, 60, 70 points a night. When you get somebody who's so well-rounded with rebounding, scoring, passing, dribbling, a good teammate, it's totally different. It's a totally different atmosphere. He's a totally different person than those guys. So when people compare them, it's just like there's no comparison because you can't compare a lion and a tiger. You can't compare them. Oh. They're both cats, but they're not the same.
They both played basketball. Both guys played basketball at a very high level. Two very different ways of operating, 100%. Though. Yeah, I got you.
But you got to understand, the lion is the king of the jungle. Everybody bows down to the lion. The tiger that don't stop the tiger from listening, motherfucker. I'm a bad motherfucker too.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Before we let you go, I can't thank you enough for joining us, JR. You are awesome, by the way. Man. You're really awesome for this. Whenever you are on bike rides with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, are there conversations, and I'm assuming others too, that I just didn't happen to know their name, and that's on me, but is there conversations about the potential rollout plans for what the NBA is thinking about doing down in Orlando? And how is the discussion going from the NBA player side of things? And will you potentially be joining any teams whenever that Orlando thing kicks off?
We had a conversation about it. I think everybody in the players are moving towards the Orlando situation just because it's more it's more obviously the state of Florida is opening up, and I think the governors and the mayors and everything, they're more reluctant to stay open if the coronavirus outbreak goes, even like if one person catches it, I think they're more reluctant to stay open than any other states. So I think that's the main reason why they're looking at Orlando,
and also because Disney's a big sponsor, ESPN, ABC.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but the thing about it, if they wanted to play, I mean, we have the resources to literally play anywhere if we realistically wanted to. We have the money and the capabilities to get people tested or on schedule reluctantly. It's just a matter of how we're going to do it. So at the end of the day, I mean, I think it's going to happen. I think hopefully I'll be on the team. It's just a matter of how can they structure it the right way with everybody.
The players do want it to. I think the biggest difference between the NBA and let's say the MLB or anything else is like LeBron has come out and said, hey, we want to do this. The big stars, Chris Paul has come out and said, hey, we want to do this. Is that narrative accurate? Like behind the scenes, they do want to get this done because this could be one of the coolest things of all time. If they have a bracket style, if this thing has a little bit of March Madness, like this could be a really cool thing for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think so. I think a lot of guys want to do it. I was 100% know guys, like a CJ McCollum and certain guys have more. I want to be more aware of what's going on and try to be more cognizant of the social issues with Corona and everything, not just, obviously with Black Lives Matter and everything, but with this particular situation, Corona, because so many different people's health issues. So it's a lot of people who want to play, but it's just as many people who are, worried about their own health and stuff like that.
A little hesitant, obviously. I think we all are because we have no idea what could potentially happen tomorrow. JR, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for what you did last night because that person that you beat the hell out of was trying to distract us all from what we're really trying to do here, which is make a better America for everybody. I'm going to show you our guy that's been answering phones today, big J.R. Smith fan. He did today's show shirtless for you.
Oh, yeah, that's my dog. Hey, man, I'm with you, bro.
I can't because my thing. My things. Ladies and gentlemen, legend on and off the court, J.R. Smith. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, try to get you one of these someday.
Hey, man, next year for sure.
Okay, all right. I'll see you. What a legend.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was a special interview.
Hey, that was cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Lion and Tiger. Dawn and Westwood One's not going to love that answer, but that's one of the best lines I've ever heard in my entire life. He's a good dude, man. He was so nice to us, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was in there, we were the loudest group of little white kids in there. We were hanging out in the regular casino, too. Everybody's back in the rich area. JR comes out, daps us up, sits down next to us, introduced me to... I mean, JR is a good guy. Great conversation. Thankful for him.